All right, team, here we are at Flint Golf Club. A couple things. I'm going to assume some of these tee markers are up. So we can have, just be aware of where you're teeing off. So I'm going to assume that they might be putting you up in the fairway here. So par 5, dog legs to the right. From that marker, it's 500 yards. I don't think there's any way they're playing you there. Staying a little bit more on the left side here gives you a little bit more clear access up the fairway. Off to the right, this really has a pretty significant drop down here. Okay, so the green has some pretty severe slope. So be aware of where the pin is if the pin is back left. Being a little bit longer left is not so bad. That bunker isn't very deep. The miss off to the right side too much leaves you a little bit more challenging shot. So front left is generally the spot to miss it here on this hole. Okay. Favor up that left side off the tee, center. Get yourself in position maybe and laser that bunker. Get an idea of where you want to lay up if you can't get close to reaching it in too. Second hole, par 3. Big ravine goes down, but then back uphill. Plays relatively, let me get the wind off because it's a little bit high. Plays 10 yards uphill from this tee. So that's probably going to be pretty accurate. A lot of slope off to the right, left, and long. So this green is relatively elevated, goes downhill off the tee, back up the hill. Short in front is not a bad place to be. I'm not sure why this is not behaving. So short is good. Green slopes pretty severe back to front. You've got a little bit of room off to the right side before it has a big drop off. But accuracy on the par 3 is going to be kind of a premium. Third hole plays uphill off the tee, pretty short, 295. Getting something here would be good. They have done quite a bit of tree clearing from what I understand, so a lot of these trees might be gone from what we see here. Just they didn't have this quite updated. But a shot up the hill here probably plays, you can see it plays 180. That leaves you something about 100 playing like. Pretty narrow front opening. It's a little bit bigger than what this picture actually shows. And then back to front, kind of funnels in from the back side. So if the pin is middle back, playing in the middle of the green generally is always a good plan. Okay, but relatively short hole, just a little bit of accuracy off the tee would be helpful. You probably have a little bit more room off to the right than you do off the left. So a lot of these trees block your access to the green. So if you're going to miss anywhere, long right would be good. Short right, you're hitting a pretty big shot back up the hill. Fourth hole, one of the longer holes. I'm going to assume again we're probably going to be maybe moving out into the front of the fairway. Then that leaves you, something a little bit more realistic. Tough hole for everybody though, right? So green has some pretty significant tilt. A couple corners there, and again, it looks a heck of a lot bigger than what is shown here. The back to front, couple knobs kind of off the right and left. Difficult hole. Pitching it on the green, 2-putting, moving on, back to front pretty significantly. So short generally is always a good miss if you can't make it to the green. Sixth hole, number 5. 360 maybe. Okay, so that might be the number. Hitting something in here leaves you 150 yards if you're hitting it longer. Right, you can probably, some of these trees might be gone. Fade, the wind is generally going to be coming off the left. So a right miss generally accesses the green a little bit better than a left miss. And then as we get in deeper, again, back to front, kind of backish, right to front left. Missing a little bit left around the greens there is the right play. 6, just straight away, pretty flat hole. I'm going to guess that they might have removed some of these trees off the left. 375, I doubt very much you're playing that. So they'll probably move you up to the front of the fairway. Right, and that turns it into 270, something like that. That would probably be the play. So 113 yards over that bunker, relatively straight away. Pretty unique green. Back to front, you have to be patient. Look at where the reed is. It's a big green. So work on your speed. I think that that plays more back uphill from the back of the green to the front. There's just a lot of stuff going up with that green, but it's not too severe. 7th hole, another tough one. 405. I'm pretty sure you guys won't be playing that. So probably something in here off the front of the tee. That'd be probably about right. Oh, let's see, maybe. They've got you playing this as a par 5. We play this as a par 4. So it's possible you might be back. So from here, you've got 150-yard carry over that bunker. Favoring a little bit off the right edge. Lays you back in front. Here, a nice easy pitch onto the green. Green slopes. That's very weird. These greens are way bigger than this. Back left to front right. Front of the green has kind of like almost a 2-tier look to it that doesn't really show up here. 8th hole, par 3. Says 165. They'll probably move you at least. If they don't have another tee box, they'll move you up to the very front of that one. Plays pretty level. Don't want to miss left here. So the left you have to hit over the hump. They'll probably have kind of a front middle pin, I would imagine. Slope's pretty big back to front. Number 9, par 5, 480. Seems kind of long. Relatively straight away, just kind of favors a little bit to the left. You got to be careful of these bunkers. There's some room a little bit longer. So wherever this tee marker is, this isn't, unfortunately, this isn't very helpful. We didn't get yardages. They just had some combo tees in that description of where they're playing from. All right, let's get back to it. No yardages. Pretty small green here, back to front. Not terribly fast going down toward the front of the green. It definitely has some slope. Kind of runs off on all corners. The green is a little bit elevated. Take some touch, right, to get the ball to get on the green and stay on the green. So a solid shot, with a little bit of check on it would be really important. Putting up the hills, right, if you're having trouble with your chipping, putting it up with a hybrid can be very helpful. Number 10, one of the most unique par 3s, a really long one. We play it in the tournaments. We play it like 230 yards uphill. I'm going to assume possibly they move you up to the front. Green slopes back to front, has that almost like a guitar pick type of look. Back to front, not overly severe. Pretty easy hole. The shorter is better than long. Okay, so if you're between clubs, choose the one that's a little bit shorter. That would probably be more ideal. 11th hole, this one gets a little dicey. I'm going to probably put you up here. This is definitely par 5. favoring the left side a little bit, right? Even if you have, let's say that you can't get to the corner, right? Your next shot, you just play it, laser the trees here on the left. You want to hit it just to the right of them. You can see how tight this area is, right? There's trees off the right. Hopefully some of these are gone. The right side of the trees are just like jail. So just get it out. Give yourself a better angle back into the green is going to be the major thing. But there's just so many trees there on the right, and then they sit low. The limbs are low. So just getting it back to the fairway. If you can get it to the left side of the fairway, that opens up more of the green coming in. The green slope itself, back to front for the most part, a little bit heavier tilt up in that back right corner. I'm going to assume that they're going to have, relatively easy middle pin to keep play moving away from some of the severe slopes, but there's nothing too dramatic. So back-to-back par fives, kind of a unique scenario. 475, I can't imagine that. So it has a little snaky type of feel to it. So I'm going to assume again that you guys are going to be playing maybe a little bit more forward. 1, 2, 3. So it's close to 400. We're going to move it up in there. Power fade coming through here can open things up. They might have removed some of the trees there on the left. Hopefully some of the ones on the right too give you some access into this. But laying it up, laser the trees on the right, try to be 20 yards short of those, and that leaves you a wedge into the green. I don't know why this keeps jumping back. That's so funny. Back to front, this one does tilt quite a bit more, I think, than most. So short in front, generally the easiest place to be. Long is wrong. If you're between clubs, try to leave it short, right? Choose the shorter club. Be aware of what the wind is. This is typically going to be going back into the west wind, so you want to be mindful of that. Next hole, par 3, plays significantly uphill. Again, short is the play. Let's see, 165. Boy, here's one of the things about the old days. They didn't make golf courses with women in mind, unfortunately, is the truth. And then when they added the tee boxes, they didn't really do a great job of putting them in the right place. So these boxes are definitely further away. Washtenaw Golf Club has the same thing. They've been adding a lot of tee boxes over the last 10 years to make it more playable for everyone, even senior men that don't hit it quite as far. You can see this green is pretty severe, okay? So you want to get it on the green. The practice green that we have here is pretty small. There's going to be 100 or so, maybe a little bit less than 100 players playing in the event. And there's 2 shifts on the range. So we're in the second shift. When you get there, if you have time to hit some putts, the greens will likely be fast. It is a country club. It's a very old country club. So unfortunately, the green's small. So just try to find a way to hit some uphill, downhill putts and get a feel for the speed of the greens. #14, this is a toughie. Okay, so bogey turns into a great score. We'll assume, again, that we're going to be teeing off from somewhere near the front. This drops dramatically. Okay, so there you can see the creek running through it. Much shorter on the right than it is on the left. Okay, depending on where the tee box is, if you can hit it a really long way, right, you have to carry it to really clear the water. Right, you have to carry it 200 yards, approximately. You can't see the creek from down there. So you really want to get an understanding of where you are relative to the tee box, right? So if it says, come on, we're going to go here. Let's say that we'll go there. So from that tee box, it's 240 to clear the water on the edge of the fairway, but that would put you in the water over here, right? So the play distance from that tee if you laser off or pace off your distances from that so that you get a better understanding of where you need to hit it. You can probably laser like up here, that part of the fairway. It starts running back uphill significantly. So that would leave you a short shot, okay? If you lay it back, you've got a long shot. It's like you have to at least add 1.5. Be aware of what the wind is, because you could add up to 3 clubs to get it up this hill, okay? The green slopes significantly back to front, so be aware if you're above the hole, you want to creep that ball down the hill to the hole. Sometimes they put those pins near the front, which isn't necessarily easier. When you're putting uphill, it's easier to get the pin back, so everybody's putting uphill instead of back downhill. But we'll assume that they might have it near the center. That's generally one of the easier spots. I miss a little bit more to the right. I think is a little bit better than left. If you're not trusting your bunkers, you can see from where that bunker is on the right, there's space over there on the right. Okay, and most of the green is tilting kind of toward the right side. None of it hardly is moving toward the left, which would be the more difficult up and down. Okay, 15th hole, very short for us. We've got back-to-back drivable par 4s. It's kind of fun, but also demanding. Okay, so I'm going to assume there might be some trees removed here. This has a pretty severe slope in the fairway from this very high on the right side. It's going to kick the ball down to the left. You might feel like you hit a bad shot to the left, and it actually turns out to be a great shot. You might think that you hit a really good shot up the right edge of the fairway, and then you run down and you're right behind these trees blocked out. So for most, hitting something relatively short is good. Playing it up the left edge of the fairway, it's going to move back. The second shot plays uphill about 7-8 yards more up. Green's pretty deep and also very tilted back to front. Okay, so below the hole is beneficial putting uphill. 16, another shorty. I'm going to assume maybe some of these trees are gone. It's about time. Where this tee box is teeing off down a ravine. Kind of this whole fairway is a little bit flatter than where the tee box is. You can see you're walking right across from the tee. I'm going to assume that you may not be in the fairway because it's kind of a shorter hole already. But favoring up the left center opens up more of the green. This green, too, slopes pretty severely back to front. It is one of the hardest. If you're on the front of the green and the pin is back, it might feel like it's almost impossible for you to hit it hard enough to get it up that hill. Okay, very, very severe uphill through the middle of the green. If you're hitting an approach shot and the pin's back, take enough club to get it back there. Okay, it makes your putt way easier. Miss to the right side, generally off of this, is better than a miss to the left. Okay, fun hole. This green is kind of unique. It runs back to the back left. So it's high in the front right, runs back. They love the pin on the back left part. Hitting it over that bunker is a critical piece of information. You got to laser that and find out where you're hitting. Generally, the wind is coming off the left. Maybe a little bit into tomorrow because the wind's coming a little bit out of the north too. So I might play just a fraction longer. But big green slopes back to the back left corner. So it's very common that people just overread and just their mindset always gets them to play toward the break to the front of the green because that's what 99.9% of the greens that you play would have. But this one's very unique in that way, okay? A little bit different. Then 18, another par 5. I'm going to pretty much bet that you guys are up. This one is from the marker that I have there on the fairway from where you might be teeing off from is severely uphill, okay? So playing up the right side is good. above those bunkers, laser those, see if you can clear them, favoring up the right side. Your goal is to keep it, there's out of bounds over here on the left. So just hit something that, lays up, tough hole for a lot of people. You hit something great, you can hit a nice shot, full shot in there and reach it possibly in two. But there's trouble lurking on that left side. You can see where the clubhouse is, and those are the white stakes. Okay, so a pretty challenging green complex. Back to front, comes off that left side, has a little bit of a depression in that if the pin is back, kind of goes over a little bit of a slope to a flatter area. You almost can't see it from the fairway. So if that pin looks a little bit weird, you'll understand that it's a little bit back there behind and has a little bit more of a drop off. So, but you can see through there. It'll be interesting to see what they've done with the golf course. A lot of trees gone, hopefully. It's just been overgrown and neglected for a long time. But a classic old golf course by the name, architect was Willie Park Jr. So if you make it through this and you can tell me some other golf courses that Willie Park Jr. designed, some famous ones that have hosted some major championships, you're going to win a prize. Okay, so you made it to the end of this video. Congratulations. You have an opportunity. Now look up Willie Park Jr., see what he's done.